so annoyed.
Oh, yeah. Well, your dad showed up shit-faced. He threw potato salad all over my mom. We had to throw him out.
Why do I have this depressed look on my face all the time?
Well, you were grumpy a lot. You were losing the weight, then you gained it back. Thin, fat, thin.
Was I always this miserable? Wasn't I ever happy?
Well, sure, honey, lots. I mean, you're the happiest little wife and mother in the world.
Please be seated. Thank you.
I just need to stay on that camera.
We are gathered here today. Please, no cameras now. Could we hold off photos until the end of the ceremony? Thank you. We are gathered here today. Where's she going?
Don't.
Maggie,
Lock the door!
please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of BW Flix, the Average Movie Critics. I'm your host, James J. Train Martin. This is my co-host, B. Brian Arndt. Man, how you doing today, brother?
Good. Ready to get into some movies once again on this Tuesday.
Absolutely, man. Look, I was excited about seeing these movies. I really, again, like you said, we love to get into some movies, and we when we come to you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you spoilers. I'm just going to give you that alert ahead of time. If you have not seen the movie, we try to give you a week in advance to watch the movies, and we try to give you a source or an app, which is Tubi. The majority of movies that we review are from Tubi. It's free. You can download it, put it on your phone. Shout out to Tubi. And you can watch the movies for free without having to go pay $3.99, $4.99, $5.99 for a movie, or $20, $30, whatever it is, a movie theater, plus popcorn. That's about $70 for a bucket.
Right. That's without the butter.
And that's without the butter. Right. You go get you pay a cheaper price for an oil change with your car than you do for the butter and the lube. And
right.
I mean, the popcorn and the lube with the butter. But that being said, man, look. Yeah, right, exactly. The two movies that we're going to talk about today is Overboard in 1987 and Runaway Bride in 1999. These are rom-com movies, and we let you know before what we're going to go over this. First movie out the gate is Overboard. And I'm just going to let Brian go over a few things, who's in it, how much the movie cost, what it made at the box office, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so Overboard, and by the way, Overboard and our other film, Runaway Bride, has the same director. It's directed by Gary Marshall. Very popular in this stack of years between these two movies. He was doing a lot of directing. So that was, and it's pretty cool that he directed both of these. Overboard is starring Goldie Hawn as Joanna Staten or / Annie, Kurt Russell as Dean Prophet, Edward Herman as Grant Staten, Catherine Hellman as Edith Mintz, that's Goldie Hawn's mom, and Rudy McDowell as Andrew the butler. Now, there are some other people on here that made some appearances. For instance, Gary Marshall, he always seems to want to be in his own films, kind of like Stan Lee. He does the Stan Lee on everything. Gary Marshall in this movie, he was a drummer, he was uncredited, of course. And another person that you might notice a lot in some of these movies and in TV shows, as a matter of fact, is Hector Elizondo. He was the garbage scow skipper who was talking in an accent. He said, "You can't say that word." He said, "No, I didn't say that." I said,
I said, Flocka, or whatever it is. He said it in his Portuguese accent. He said it's Portuguese for seal.
Mm-hmm. So we can't put that on TV. But yes, so those were your main actors in there. The music was by Alan Silvestri, another guy that is pretty popular with the music. Production companies: Metro Goodwin Mayer, better known as MGM, Star Partners Ltd, and it was distributed by MGM/UA distribution company, which is United Artists, by the way. Release date. It was released on December 16th, 1987. Running time was 112 minutes. The budget for this film was $22 million. Box office, however, was not so friendly to them. $26.7 million for the box office. So it didn't make too much money, even though it is kind of a cult classic.
Cult classic enough to where in 2018 they made a remake.
Yes.
So yeah. That being said, let's get right into it. We're going to start with our synopsis here. As Brian, my ever so eloquently speaking co-host, said that Joanna Staten is the main protagonist, and she is portrayed by Goldie Hawn. She's a mean, snobbish, rich, you know what, in this movie. In the beginning, she's on her yacht, and her and her husband are traveling the seven seas, doing whatever they do, and they make a pit stop in this podunk town, wherever it may be, Podunk, USA, and she wants to get her closet redone. So it has to be done. It's an emergency. She says it's an emergency. So she gets her closet done, and she has a scheduled appointment with a carpenter. And he comes in. This is Kurt Russell as portraying Dean Prophet, the carpenter. He's from Podunk, USA, and he's definitely the epitome of that. So he comes in. He already has interactions with her. You know, she's being snobbish. Don't tell him not to touch anything. And he goes in and makes a very nice, I might add, very nice closet. It has some ingenuity to it where she can make some different things on it. But she sees none of that. All she sees is the wood is made out of oak. And she's looking for a cedar wood. And she didn't mention that in the beginning. So he said, well, if you don't like it, I'm going to have to do it over, and you're going to pay. It's going to be extra cost if you want cedar. So she feels like she don't have to pay for it at all. They get into an argument. He chews her out, lets her know what she is, what she thinks of it, much to the happiness and to the agreement of the crew and the staff of the yacht. And he gives her business. He puts her in her place, but she puts him into the ocean, along with his tools and tool belt and everything else. They pull off. She goes off in the middle of the night, and she falls off the boat, and she ends up lost. The boat's going on without her. They don't know. Everybody's asleep or watching TV. Nobody knows she falls off. She ends up getting fished out of the ocean. She has amnesia, and is being put out there that this is a woman, if anyone can claim her missing, because she might have lost her memory in this movie, but she did not lose. Hey, good afternoon, Yenzer. Hope you're well. Hope you enjoyed the draft for Pittsburgh. She did not lose her attitude. She still had the same bad attitude. She still had the same snobbish, snooty ways, but she had no idea who she was. So our other protagonist, Dean, sees this, and he figures out, okay, I can take advantage of her because she stiffed me out of tools, out of $600 for the job and stuff. So I'll play a joke on her and get revenge on her. So this happens. He brings her back home. He goes and picks her up, brings her back home, tells her she's his wife and the mother of their 4 children, his 4 boys, which she's not. And it goes on from there. Time goes on, and we see that he's not just joking anymore. He ends up having feelings for her. Of course, she believes that she has feelings for her family and him as her husband. And then, of course, we find out that that's not the case. So that's pretty much the movie. And we're going to get into why. I mean, before we get into any discussion about this movie, we're going to see a quick or brief image or video of this clip, and then we'll get started.
Yeah. So near the end of the movie, she does lose her amnesia, and she realizes that, hey, you've been using me for the last, all this time. And come to find out, Dean does fall in love with her because she does take care of the kids well, and the kids kind of straighten up. He's got 3 boys, and they're all, nuts because they're with their dad, and they're like all over the place. So she kind of comes up at 4. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got
comes
four
in
boys.
there, four of them, and she comes in there and kind of cleans up the whole. She cleans up the house. She cleans up the kids. The kids start acting better mannered and stuff like that. And I wish my girlfriend would lose her memory. Oh, Robbie. Anyway, so at the end of this movie, they're going. She gets put on a boat, where she's, back to where she is, and she realizes she doesn't want to be there anymore because she misses Kurt Russell and the boys. So she said, and then Kurt Russell says, you know what, I'm going to go get her because I love the girl. So I'm going to go get her. So he gets a wish from the Coast Guard. Yeah, I want to see this ever happen in real life. But the Coast Guard chases them down, and they have an emergency they have to get to. But instead of him just waiting, saying, "Oh, damn, I could have caught her," or whatever, he jumps off the ship. Well, when you jump off the ship in the Coast Guard, it's man overboard. So they got to stop whatever they're doing or wherever emergency they're going to and get your butt out the water. So here it is, and they both see each other, and they both jump into the water at the same time, and this is where this clip takes us.
I'll never let you go. You're my Annie, and you always will be.
Man overboard is kissing woman overboard. A rescue boat is starboard. The guy at the arrows is being pulled in at port. It's a hell of a day at sea, sir.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to the
man.
Coast Guard. You guys do great
Yes.
service out there too. So we appreciate
Sure,
you.
that they are part of the armed forces as well. Did I like this movie? Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. I watched it back in the 80s when it came out. My family, I remember my grandmother loved this movie, my mom. The whole family loved it, I include myself. And does it hold up when I look at it now? I mean, because I want to do this premise a little bit different than like I said last time. I thought I did a little too much talking, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't, my co-host right here, my cool co-host. I thought we need to be able to interact a lot more. Let me see. This is exactly, Yenzer.
Make me feel old.
So I got 5 questions to impose on the movies now. And so the first one would be, is this movie actually a good comedy, and is it romantic? Yes, in my opinion. I think it is. I think the movie holds up pretty well. I think that both the protagonist portrayed by Kurt Russell and what's up, Danny? How you doing, man? Glad you could show up and be with us tonight. I think the protagonist, Kurt Russell, both protagonists, Kurt Russell and do we call Joanna Staten a protagonist or antagonist? Because initially she was an antagonist, but then losing her memory. Losing her memory, she became a protagonist, right? I mean, she still can know it. She still kind of was a bit of an antagonist too.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, they were trying to get rid of her at the hospital and everything. They couldn't wait to get her out of there. Yes, without a doubt.
So yes,
yes, it definitely falls into the category of that because it's wholesome too. Because you got these bad BA kids that are in the movie, but the relationships between her, you can see how the movie, it grows. Even though, and I love at the end of the movie, which is one of my favorite actors who played in what's the Ape movies back in the day with Charlton Heston. The Apes. What's the name of the movies?
Planet Apes.
Yes, Planet Apes. Yes. So Roddy McDowell was the main guy there. Yes. That's okay, man. It's okay.
Hey, Yenzer, let me tell you, I think the first time I saw it, I did see it with a girlfriend. So yeah.
Yeah, I was with my family when I watched this, but again, it was a good movie. I could watch it by myself. That being said, um, Roddy McDowell says, to Joanna Slayton, he says we go when she's got her memory back and she's back on the ship. He said we go through life with blinders on, but so he said what you had a unique experience where you were able to take those off and see life through a different scope. And so she was able to see life from a very humbled, humiliating type of situation where she had lived in very poor circumstances. I mean, obviously their house was meager at best, to say the best. And the kids, they were poor as well, obviously. And she had to cook, clean stuff she never did. And she waited hand and foot on 4 children and 5 if you include the husband, because he was definitely considered a child too as well, with some of his antics and everything. But yeah, I think it's a really good romantic movie. And what do you think, B? I mean, in regards to that question.
Well, just before I answer that question, let me give you a couple of facts. As Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell are partners. They're not married, but they are partners. They've been partners for a long time. They've had kids together too, so they're still together after all these years. And I think this is where they met and stuck together from this point on. Goldie Hawn has been with some real, I would say, handsome leading actors. Like she was with what's that? No, she wasn't with her. She's been in a lot of movies with other leading actors. So this is kind of cool that she married Kurt Russell. Well, not married, but partnered up with Kurt Russell, and they had a life together. So also, this movie takes place in Tillamook County, Oregon. If Tillamook County, Oregon sounds familiar, just think of cheese. Tillamook cheese. If you ever go to the store, you're going to see Tillamook cheese, and that's where it's from, Tillamook, Oregon. So anyway, yeah, it's a pretty good romance movie. She did I think they really did it. I think people weren't just. I think people could take on it was kind of a silly movie in a way. I mean, there's a lot of ad libs going on in that movie, like the whole Coast Guard, knowing a Coast Guard captain who's going to chase down a ship just because it's his girlfriend or something like that. That would probably never happen in daylight,
Or there's a fat guy in the way. A fat guy? Well, I'll give you fat guy.
Trying to beat up on a Coast Guard guy, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Hey, we're gonna turn this boat around. And the fact that, but the guy that played her husband, Edward Herman, what was Grant Stanton III, he did play the husband that was a dick. He had her money basically, and he was living off her and trying to be a playboy while she was gone and in the insane asylum for the minute, for the few minutes she was in there. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to go get her. I'm going to be living La Vida Loca. And every time her mom would call the ship, he's like, yeah, she went out shopping, or she's sleeping, or she's doing this. And this dude's up there coking and smoking and having all these chicks on the boat and stuff like that. I was like, dude, and then he got a nerve to try to take over the ship too, take over the boat, say, I'm going to take this boat over.
Out here, I am God.
Yeah, I am God. It's like, yeah, okay. So Goldie's like, yeah, her character's like, nah, I'm not doing this. No, because I can see it was great. It was a humility experience for her, on top of the fact that she remembered everything, but now she knows what it is to cook, clean, care about people and stuff like that in a real way instead of the fake stuff. I think she had fake love with the dude anyway. It was just somebody that just was a high profile person that she got along with. That was her husband. So you can say most of that relationship was fake. Just, money was real, but, and it transcended upon her that she had to be fake and stuff like that with the whole oak versus the, what was
Cedar,
it? Cedar. Yeah. I was like, you didn't even tell her that. He's like, you didn't even tell me that, lady. And he then proceeded to cuss her out. And that's why she threw him over. Well, she knocked him overboard. So, I mean, it's a comedy. Some of it's pretty slapstick. Of course, the whole photo thing was hilarious, like you saw in the intro. was like, now you know damn well this does not look like something natural. It doesn't look like she should be in. So I was like, if she believes this, you know, she'll believe anything. Because nowadays you can doctor photos up and it'll look just like the day that you know, you can have the sun ray shine.
AI have you believe in
AI,
everything
boy,
now.
hell yeah. AI, yeah. Too bad AI wasn't going on there. You better have been more convincible in this movie. But yeah, I mean, besides the quirks like that in the movie, it was a pretty good movie. I don't understand why it made 26.7 million at the box office, but what was this, a 90? Is this an 87 movie too?
87,
Yeah,
87.
87, yeah. 87.
So
84
a lot of times,
boy, I don't know.
where movies, I think where movies fail is that they don't have really good advertisement, or they don't market the movie good enough. And so, because you can see when something becomes a cult classic, it's just that they probably missed the mark in the beginning. They missed the mark in the beginning, but a lot of times the movie gets to the video, everybody finally gets a chance to see it. Word of mouth happens. You're like, oh man, you got to check this movie out. Oh, let's go rent this movie from Blockbuster back in the day, if you remember that. You know, everybody's make sure you bring it back on time because you're going to get charged late fees, that kind of thing.
And make sure you rewind it.
Yes, and rewind it too. You're going to get charged for that. Yes, exactly. You get charged for that as well. But yeah, this movie should have made a lot more money back then. But I'm kind of glad that it is a movie where, in a sense, where it's such a cult classic. They were able to make a remake, even though I think that wasn't as good as. I mean, I didn't see it, but so I can't really judge it. But I mean, from what it looks like, it wasn't as good as the first. But my next question would be kind of leading to what we were already talking about. Is there good character development here? I think so. I think so. You already know Joanna Staten is who she is. I mean, the rich, snobbish bitch, and yeah, I mean, it's what it is. There's no getting around that. They want you to put. Goldie Hawn did a great job of portraying that type of character and who she was, and seeing a total contrast when she has amnesia, and when she's put in a situation in her humble surroundings. And Kurt Russell is portraying Dean Prophet. Dean's not all innocent himself. He's not mature. He thinks everything's more macho. Like I make the money, you cook the grits, you clean and do everything else. Yes, and that's just where he was. And I go out with my friends, although he wasn't going out with his friends late at night. He's just portrayed as though he was. Because he didn't want her to know he was working an extra job, that was like a dirt job, that was kind of beneath what he was already doing because the guy was even talking crazy to him when he was out there doing it. And he was just taking it because he needed the money to take care of his family. He was doing what any Joe would, any man that's out here taking care of his family. He was kind of doing that. And I love seeing that. And she loved seeing it. But yes, the development of these characters go along, you see how it's built and let you know who they are and how they end up coming together. I liked it. I thought it was good enough in the movie to the development of these two characters and the supporting characters. I thought people were like Andrew, the head butler on the yacht was a good character. He was developed well. And I thought her mother was developed well. You see where she gets it from and understanding how snooty she was. Her mom was even more snooty with dogs, telling Inga not to shove the food in the dog's mouth, but to place it on her tongue, which is crazy. And also just the husband, who he was and what was just around her. And vice versa, the other side, you see the friend. I like my man, what was his name? Mike Haggerty as Billy Pratt is his partner that they're building the golf putt place, and it was just really good development to me, and I like it in that sense. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just obviously Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell really made the movie because they really were in touch with each other, and obviously this is the reason why they're together to this day. So that might have been, between them two. I mean, that's really all it was focused on in the first place, was really those two. Everybody else was kind of just part of the picture, but they interacted very well. I think the kids kind of did a pretty good job too in that movie. They all had their little parts in there. The one that was talking like Pee Wee Herman, he was
The
hilarious.
youngest one, yes. He was
Yeah,
very
the youngest
hilarious.
one. Yeah.
Very funny.
So, and then when she went in there and the teacher had called her in the school because the kids were acting goofy, and so she was in, and they all had poison oak, and then she cussed the teacher out because the teacher didn't realize that they had poison oak, and so she went off on him, and then the kids started liking her because she said she stood up, she stood up for him, and sometimes the dad doesn't do that. And it kind of, I know, you kind of see the look on Kurt Russell's face and his character's face about it. He's like, damn, kids are turning on me, man. They're going with this girl. What the hell's going on? So, but he ends up, fall in love with her. I mean, there's a lot of quirks that go in there. They go on. She gets a birthday. She has a birthday. They go on a birthday, and of course, they go in the sack and stuff like that. So I think it was just a budding romance for Kurt. It just was unexpected. He was just trying to get back at her for being a female.
Oh, you know what?
Anyway, so it was.
I mean,
it was a good fun.
And to be fair to the character Dean Prophet, he tried to tell her the truth. I mean, obviously, you see the kids, they wanted her to stay, so he told her it was her birthday. They go out and celebrate the birthday. They fall in love more so because he tells her a story about the fisherman and the princess and how they went in the ocean and they jumped out toward each other in the fog. They couldn't see each other. They ended up drowning. But turns out, legend is that they both are in the sea. When you see the water going up against the tide hitting in the land, is them making love in the sea forever. And that's why you see at the end, we see them jump into the water. They called it those same names out of those two characters that he mentioned. And it was that's very cheesy and romantic at the same time. But that being said, the ending to me is where you wonder, is it realistic? To me, is the ending realistic? And that's the question I'm going to ask you, B. Is it realistic enough to be considered a true romantic movie or something that would happen in real life? Meaning a rich lady gets her memory back. She went through all this stuff with the guy, and would she end up taking him back? Because she's in love with him and taking the 4 kids that aren't even hers. And that being said, I think that's kind of unrealistic, to be honest with you, but it's still made for a good theater. It made for good fantasy and romance, and the most romantic movies are fantasy to me, just like sci-fi and all this other kind of stuff. And so I still liked it. I thought it showed that the biggest thing I got from it is that a lot of times in life we have to go through humility and take a look at ourselves and make sure that we are checking ourselves at moments and not belittling people or not trying to take advantage of people. Like you see, like I said, one belittled the other in the beginning, and the other took advantage of the one when they're at their lowest point, and both realized the error of their ways later on. Because as you saw, Joanna apologized to Andrew, her butler, with how she behaved, and what's his name? He was really he felt bad throughout the movie and told her the truth, but they didn't believe it because she thought he was cheating on her with someone else. And now it turns out, when the underwear had JS in it, and it turns out it was her name, and that was her underwear. But yeah, but all in all, I thought it was a good movie. It was a good enough movie. I'd watch it again. Would I recommend this to anybody? Yes. I'm going to always recommend all of our movies that we talk about because I want you to at least see the movie once. But I would recommend you see this. And I'd watch it again. I'm going to give this 3 buckets of popcorn.
Ooh, 3 buckets of popcorn. Look at that. And they're dancing. They're overboard.
The popcorn's overboard.
Yeah, the popcorn's overboard. I think I would probably stay with that as well. I think that all love stories in the movies, it's Hollywood. So you're going to make extra out of everything. Like the whole scene at the end where the Coast Guard say, that'll never happen in real life, but it made for an interesting ending and a more romantic ending. So, yeah, I mean, I can dig it. I would definitely, I've done, had this movie gave this movie to people to watch before. So, I mean, I still remember it even from all. I think I first saw it and when it came out too in '87. So, yeah, I recommend it definitely. Show me yeah, yeah. That was the fortunate thing about the whole movie too. The woman realized she was rich, and that was her boat. That the dude was saying, "I'm God," and driving it, and then it was her money too. So they didn't have to worry about anything after that. But the point is, he didn't even care. And I think that's one of the things that whole relationship show. He didn't care if she had money, even when he
said
knew
it.
that she
He
had.
said,
Yeah,
we said, what does love have to do with anything? Right? He's like, we don't have to be in love. We're just married, and that's yeah.
yeah. It's
Okay.
anyway.
Well, you gave it 3 buckets as well.
I gave it 3 buckets as well.
All right, cool. Now we are on to our second movie. The next movie is Runaway Bride, 1999, and B, go ahead and spill out all the goods for it.
Again, directed by Gary Marshall. The stars in this was Julia Roberts, Richard Gere. Now, Julia Roberts played Maggie. She's a woman who's run away from 3 of her former weddings, but is not to do so in her 4th attempt to marry. And the 4th attempt to marry is Richard Gere. You remember these two from Pretty Woman. This is where they originally cast. Was another romantic comedy, as a matter of fact. A little more, would I say serious, more serious? It was kind of still funny, rom-com. But Richard Gere is Homer Eisen Ike Graham. He is the one that is actually, he's a reporter trying to do a story on her without, he gets fired because whatever. And then you got Joan Cusack, the sister of John Cusack. She's been in a lot of movies as well as Peggy Fleming, not the skater, like she says. And Hector Elizondo, again, he is in this movie. He is Ike's boss, Richard Gere's boss, as Fisher. And is married to his ex-wife, by the way, who was played by Rita Wilson, Ellie Graham. Some other people in this movie. We had Laurie Metcalf. I mean, you see Laurie Metcalf. She plays Betty Trout in this. She's just she's uncredited in this movie, but she is. I think your fame would be Married with Children is one of them. She was on that show for a while. She took over. She took over from the other chick that was living there for next door for a minute. Celia Ward was in it as a pretty woman in a bar. Probably will miss it. And of course, Gary Marshall was in it. Like I said, he's a Stan Lee of his movies. He's a softball first baseman on there. So if you don't recognize, if you watch it again, you'll see it. The music was by James Newton Howard. Production companies were Interscope Communications and Lakeshore Entertainment. It was distributed by Paramount Pictures and Buena Vista International. Release date was July 30th, 1999. Okay. And running time was 116 minutes. The budget was $70 million. Now check this out. The box office loved this movie. $309.5 million in 1999. That was big box office hit.
Wow.
So,
yeah. I was not one of those. My dollar stayed in my pockets. But I did like this movie. Cool.
He's gonna give Overboard a 4. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the premise of that word.
It's about how you look at it, right? Exactly. It depends on how you look at it. Look, let's get you the synopsis. Let's get on with it. Ike Graham, Richard Gere's character in the big city for USA Today. He's a columnist that's having a bit of a slump with the type of columns he's writing, and he's looking for something big. So he's sitting in the bar, and he hears this one guy that calls out that he has a story about a lady who's dumped 3 guys, as the aforementioned by Brian, that she's dumped 3 guys at the altar, or left them three guys at the altar, and is engaged again. And so he writes a story, I don't think he proofreads and does a lot of research for it. He just thought he pretty much had a reliable source. He went off the guy's source. So some of it's embellished, and the girl finds out about it, Maggie Carpenter, and she gets her lawyer involved with USA Today. So like you mentioned, Brian, he gets fired. But Hector Elizondo's character, Fisher, is definitely he's one of his higher ups. He comes to him with the story saying that you might want to look at that again, into that again, because turns out, although that you might have pushed the envelope just a little bit, it still happened. And so she's going to get married again. So this still will be a big story if she does it again. And so, like you mentioned, Ike Graham becomes the guy that she ends up leaving, but he's not the initial guy. Chris Milani from Oz and from SVP. If you don't know what SVP is, what Special Victims Unit, right?
Yeah.
SVU.
Yeah,
SVU,
Special Unit.
Law and Order.
Law and Order. Yeah,
right.
It's a spinoff of Law and Order. Yeah,
for sure. Chris Milani, the cop, one of the cops on there, he plays Bob Kelly, and he's the football coach, and he does a few other things in the town. But he's a teacher and football coach as well, gym teacher and football coach, and he's her engaged husband to be. He's her engaged husband to be, and so he goes through town. He goes to the town, tries to follow her and talks to everybody about her to figure out what's going on with her, so he can have his story again. And so we'll get into that. We might have a video for it. Let's check out Brian's video, the clip.
All right. In this video, she's explaining all the rings that she's collected from her previous marriages. Engagement rings, I guess you could say. And so she's going through them, and he's kind of like, okay, this, and he gives her a kind of a statement at the end about the whole situation. So here you go.
Brian.
Oh, Father Brian.
And Gills, of course.
Gil, yeah.
And George. He proposed at a butterfly farm in St. Thomas. The ring was inside a cocoon.
A little too Silence of the Lambs for my taste, but...
Well, he's an entomologist. Thought it was very unique. And finally, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
He proposed during the 7th inning stretch at an Oriole game.
Wait, don't tell me. Scoreboard lit up with Marry Me, Maggie.
It was one of the most wonderful moments of my life.
Highly suspect.
What do you mean? It was incredibly romantic.
Look, maybe it's just me, but... if you gotta dress it up like that, it just doesn't ring true.
So, as you can see right there, there's good character development, because right now you see the character, Ike Graham, he's figuring her out. He's starting to figure her out, which he has a lot to do to figure himself out as well. Because again, like you mentioned, he's divorced and he was fired by his ex-wife that happened to work for the same company. But that being said, I mean, is there character development here? I think it's for the main two protagonists, yes. Because you start to figure out, you start to peel back the layers of who these people are. You mean, first, Maggie, why would she dump 3 people at the altar and live in a town? And first of all, why would any other guy after the first one want to try to marry her and she left you at the altar? That didn't make any sense to me. But that being said, yes, Maggie's character is starting to be the layers are starting to be peeled, and you can see, okay, kind of who she is and what's going on. And Ike is looking at her like, okay, like he mentioned to her, he asked each one of the guys that she dumped the eggs. He asked them about the eggs. What kind of eggs did she like? And each one had a different type of egg that they said she liked. And turns out is that she didn't know what she liked. She's more of a people pleaser, and she's just happened to be getting married with somebody for the sake of just being married without understanding who she is and what she wants in her life. And so I got that part. I saw the development there and she also pointed a finger back at Ike as well, stating that you got all kind of stuff going on too. I mean, you wrote these things about these articles about everybody else, but you never wrote one about yourself. She looked back into his past, and he's looking at himself like, okay, why did you get divorced too, and all those other kind of stuff. They go into that, and he ends up obviously apologizing to his ex-wife because he never saw her for who she was, and she saw that, and they both apologized to each other. So you start to see things start to peel back with each other, with both of them, and of course they start to have romantic feelings for each other in a matter of 2 minutes. But it's a romantic movie. So yeah. So that in regards to the character development, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think in that video too, that little clip that we showed, there was a part where he touched her finger, and you could see her getting a little flustered on that. And I think that the whole time she started really liking him. She started really liking him and kind of not trying to fight that feeling because she knows she's getting married to another guy. And then as it progresses, Richard Gere starts doing the same thing. He starts falling for her until they both, until that whole incident when they're doing the pre-wedding thing, and he tells my man tells him to kiss her, and they do this lip lock like they are really passionately kissing and stuff, and he and Richard Gere ends up getting punched because of it. So like, I don't want to marry you no more because like, damn, really, over a kiss? Okay, whatever.
And her overzealous friend is always looking for a guy. She runs after him. Mm-hmm. This may not be the right time for this, but here's my number.
I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
And again, I'll say this about character development. One thing we learn about Maggie is that she's flirty. Her friend Peggy, they're at the baseball game, and she does the chest bump and everything like that with with Peggy's husband, and Peggy doesn't really like that. But before that, I loved Peggy's line. It was so funny when she was sitting down with Ike and they were talking about everything that's going on, and she mentioned who her husband was. He did radio, and his last name was Fleming, and she said waking up in the morning with Flem was hilarious to me. But yeah, I mean, again, you could see her friend didn't like that. She started. They talked to each other later in the bar in the beauty salon, and as to why she didn't like that. Yeah, she's telling her she really don't think that she knows what she was doing, and she didn't have a problem with neither one of them, but she just thinks that she needs to figure out what she wants and not to do those types of things like what she does, or be more aware of what she thinks and how those things can hurt people around her. And like the three different the guys that she tried to marry, they were three different types of guys. One became a priest, and he said it wasn't her fault. It's just which I thought it may have been, because I'm like, wow, she really pushed him into priesthood. Like, wow, he was hurt that bad. And the other guy was a musician, and she left him at the altar. And then, of course, the third guy was the guy that was in the bar that I don't know what he did, but he definitely was hurt as well. But yeah, I just thought that it was just, again, the development of both these characters was well done in that regard. In regards to this movie, the finality of it, Richard Gere ends up being the guy that's looking to marry her, and she, as we showed in the video in the beginning, she leaves him at the altar, and she learns more. I mean, she actually learns more about herself as she goes to New York and breaks into his apartment to let him know that she figured things out about herself, and she ended up moving because he encouraged her about some of her work. She was an industrial design artist, and she made like lamps and different things like that. And he said this would do well in New York. And so she ends up doing that, of course. And then, of course, they're still in love, and we know how the movie goes. They end up getting married. She doesn't leave him at the altar. It was another nice gesture, like you mentioned. He listened to Miles Davis, and she, things that were going along that showing that they like each other. She gave him a really rare, special album, and also he stood up for her at her luau or whatever. Mm-hmm. Everybody's making jokes and cracking jokes about her. He was the only one that stood up for her and said, everybody needs to look in the mirror and would they want something like this to happen to them and that sort of thing. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah. So I could kind of see how they would be together at the end, because he was really the only one kind of, I guess, that just stood up for her and showed his feelings, and he loved her. And she actually liked him. She liked everything about him and learned more about him. She didn't just pick somebody. She just felt she felt a genuine connection. And that's what I saw in that movie. So I can kind of see them being together, even though all is just still crazy for any man to just go and not going through some psych ward. I mean, some psychology and sitting down and saying, why would you choose this lady, knowing she has to figure out her own situation when she's had 3 guys that she's dumped. She can't figure out, if she can't figure out she loves them, how's she going to figure out she loves you? And then that's the only part that makes sense to me.
Self-healing, people. Things that happened in the 90s that don't happen now because everybody's got to be coddled. But anyway, figuring out each other's mentality in that situation. And he was really trying. I think he really cared about her because he was trying to find out why she kept running from these marriage situations. And when she went back to New York and she did the furniture and her lighting for the industrial lighting and stuff like that, she also went and tried all the eggs that she was accused of liking. Each one of those guys' eggs, the same thing they like, and she just wanted to pick something that she liked. And it was funny because she kept I was with all these damn eggs in front of her and she was trying them. I was like, oh, now you want to do something different. But anyway, she was living for herself, in other words. And when at the end, she basically did it the way I think that somebody in that situation should have done. She went to ask him to marry her, not him to marry, her. So
for sure.
It worked out well that way. And I think that was the whole point. She had to be her own person. She wasn't her own person in Hale, Maryland, by the way. That was the city that they were in. By the way, it's not Hale. It's actually Berlin, Maryland. That's what it's called. But that's the city in the movie that was called Hale. But it's actually Berlin, Maryland. But yeah, so she didn't do anything. And she had all her family around her. Sometimes I see that too. That's something true in life. You got a lot of family around you. You got a lot of talking heads around you, and they kind of tell you to do different things. So you kind of follow stuff. And once she got out of that whole situation, away from her family and her friends, and went out and did stuff on her own, she realized, she learned about herself, and she learned that, hey, maybe he's right, in saying the reason why I was running away from these people. So it all came to realization for her. I think I love the premise of the movie. What I'm saying? It was deep in the mental category. If you were just following, just laughing at it, or because you liked one of the actors or actresses in it, I mean, okay. But movies sometimes in it, and this one had a lot of good meaning in it. So
he and I loved the fact that everything started switching. They hated each other in the beginning, but obviously roles were starting to reverse. They started liking each other, and they started caring about each other. And you love the fact that he encouraged her to do things that she hadn't done, because she was the type of person that she just did whatever it was, I guess, that made sense for the matter, not for what she really wanted. And he made sure to let her know, go after what you want. And obviously, and be encouraged. He encouraged her. And so obviously that showed up when she started doing this stuff in New York. She's selling her pieces and different things like that. And also she stood up for herself. He taught her to stand up for herself too at the luau. Like when her dad said something that was funny but not funny, it was just a joke too much. And she stood up on him, and she made him look in the mirror. You're an alcoholic. Stop drinking, that sort of thing. And it was I mean, pretty much.
It's hard to tell that to your parent too. I mean, especially your father.
Right.
He's like, you sassing back, But no,
he sobered up immediately right there at that moment when she told it. Yeah. No pun intended. But that being said, I give this 3 buckets of popcorn. I same as the first movie. And also Hector Elizondo was in both movies. He was just in a cameo appearance in the aforementioned Overboard.
Okay. So you.
And what about you, my friend?
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what. It was a better put together movie, so I'm giving it 4. I'm giving it a 4.
Wow.
I like the
Yeah.
I like the actresses and the actors in it. I think that Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, they work really well together. I'm surprised. I think they might have been in one other movie too, together besides Pretty Woman in this movie. It was something country. I can't remember what it is, but anyway, yeah, they work well together. They're kind of like the whole Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn thing. They're
Yeah.
just not married. So yeah, they work really well together.
Oh, they definitely have good chemistry. I would say that. And so I like both movies that they portrayed that they portrayed their characters in, Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride. I like Pretty Woman a lot better, but I like this one enough to give it three buckets of popcorn.
Okay.
Okay. That being said, we usually at the end of the show, like towards this, like where we are right now, we end up picking a bio from one of the actors in the movies, and it coincidentally it happened to be in both. It's just like I said, he was just a cameo in one, but Hector Elizondo is the bio today. I could have easily picked Goldie Hawn. I could have picked Kurt Russell, Julia Roberts, or even Joanne Cusack. But Hector is the guy that doesn't get enough of his flowers. I think he's been in the business a long time. He's done some really good work, and I mean, one of my favorite movies. I'll just tell you right now, like I told you off screen, was Necessary Roughness, where he played Coach Gennaro. He's one of these guys that plays a serious guy, but he has humor while being serious. So he could do both. He's sitting there. He's got a straight face. He's stoic, but he's saying stuff that's just like have you in stitches. Just totally funny, man. And like I said, in Necessary Roughness, he played the Coach Gennaro character, and he did a really good job in that movie too. But that being said, Hector Elizondo was born the same name on December 22nd, 1936 in New York City to Puerto Rican parents of Spanish descent. He went to a high school school of performing arts in 1950 and excelled in both basketball and baseball. He ended up doing ballet, believe it or not, from 1962 to 63, and he learned dance at the Ballet Arts Company at Carnegie Hall. He got his start. You got to start in acting in off Broadway first. Most of these guys they start in off Broadway or Broadway, and he had a part in Kill the One-Eyed Man in 1968. Also, he got his first movie, or no, excuse me, there's a play in The Great White Hope. The Great White Hope, if we all remember, with James Earl Jones in that movie about the late Jack. Not Dempsey. What was his last name? The boxer, the bald-headed boxer, the brother that got across Mexico. I forgot. Jack. Can't think of it. Is Danny still here? Danny still on? Danny will know. Danny, if you're out there, give me that boxer's name. He went on to play God in the guise of a Puerto Rican in the movie Steam Bath, Puerto Rican attendant. He also, in 1974, portrayed an ex-mafioso turned subway hijacker in the Taking of Pelham 123, which is another. That's the original one, but there's a remake of that.
There's a remake of that.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Now, Elizondo did most of his work in television. He would go on in television, including early stints in Poppy, 1975 to 76. He also played in Foley Square, 1985, 86. He and Gary Marshall would get their start together, and they would go on. Of all the 80 movies that Elizondo has done, 18 of those were with Gary Marshall. So he's done 18 movies with him, and in Pretty Woman, I think that was his first stint with him, and he did 10 minutes in that movie, and it was worthy of a Golden Globe nomination. That's just how good Hector is. In 1999, of course, the aforementioned Runaway Bride, he had a very small, a small role in the movie where he was his boss for USA Today. He also played in the aforementioned Overboard. He had an uncredited role where he played, like you said, the garbage worker and the Portuguese garbage worker in the movie. That was pretty funny. They said a word that it was mistakenly made up for an F-bomb, but it was more so a word for seals. And he let me see, in 2000 and 2004 he did The Princess Diaries and its sequel. He is probably best known for his character as Philip Waters in Chicago Hope from 1994 to 2000. He would go on to portray Dr. Nevin Bell on Monk in 2008 and reprise his role in the 2023 movie of the same name, Monk's Last Case. In 2011 to 2021, he portrayed Ed Elzate on The Last Man Standing, a comedy sitcom. And
With Tim Allen.
yes, Tim Allen, for sure. Hector has been 3 times married. Last marriage was in 1969. He's still with the same wife right now, and they had one son. He had one son, which unfortunately passed away, I believe, in 2017. But salute to Hector Elizondo. And that's it, everybody. I want to thank everybody for watching and joining us today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed these movies. We do not have a list or a showing of our movies we're going to speak on next Tuesday, but next month is Memorial. We're going to celebrate Memorial Day and Mother's Day. So we likely will have a movie that will represent mothers all over, and also probably a military movie or a law movie. And I will speak this out right now into existence. We normally mention Sonia Pearson. She's the proprietor of Friday Night with the Fellas, our sports show on Fridays at 9 p.m. She's currently in law school right now, so we want to send a shout out to her, and we're going to do a movie in regards to a law movie. So like I said, it's either military or a law movie we're going to do next Tuesday, and also a movie to represent mothers for Mother's Day. So if you have anything you want to put out there, please send it to our email. That is bwflix2026@gmail.com. Again, that is bwflix2026@gmail.com. And you can also send a constructive criticism or anything you think might make the show better. If you like the show, please follow us, like, and subscribe. We're on YouTube on the Mac McGrath podcast. Or is Matt McGrath, what is it?
Matt McGrath Podcast Network. MPN.
Yes, MPN, the Mac McGrath Podcast Network.
There you go.
Catch us on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on live on YouTube, and you can catch us at any time on YouTube as well. But again, if you like us, please like us, share the wealth with everybody else, and subscribe. But B, you got anything for the audience?
No, and this 2 good movies that we got today. Great. So we will see you guys next time. Also, hey, just keep it up, everybody. Subscribe to the network so you can see more, because we're going to add more shows on here sooner or later. So just keep up with us, and we're going to show you the schedule at the end of the show here.
But again, thank you all for supporting us. And just keep supporting us, and we'll bring you more classic movies and more new movies. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good night.
Peace.